Hi everyone, it's Plesky P from Melbourne, Australia. Let me tell you, it's not every day we get a Hollywood star, and he's a big star at the moment, right? Daniel Roebuck. Let's hear the crowd. Thank you, Daniel. Now, I love the way you're coming from the Munsters castle there, and I want to congratulate you on being the new grandpa. I've actually seen the film, and I want to tell everybody out there, Rob Zombie's film is 2022. It's not 1960s, and it's got nothing to do with the 1960s now. They've revamped it and made it so modern. It's like unbelievable. You agree?
Thank you so much. Plastic, nice to be here. I've never been in a movie so controversial, and how weird that the most controversial movie I've been in is called The Munsters. I mean, it's just really strange that people, they put this movie in their, right in their sights, and they wanted it to fail, but the joke's on them. Everybody loves it.
Everybody loves it, but let me tell you, you just fit right into grandpa. It's like you've just fitted into his shoes. I look at the way you look, right? And what happens is your hair's exaggerated, your mustache is exaggerated, but you look 2022. You look like a 2022 year, as I said, grandpa. So you're right in the scene. I mean, I think it's one of your best roles because look, you've done so, that's it. And you must take pride and joy of, they made a toy of you already, haven't they? The toy. Have you got the toy?
And then we have fan-made toys.
That's it.
That people can always contact us on Facebook. Naked toys are coming out. How about, look, I want to show you something, because you're a hip plastic EP. You know what's cool and hip. Check this out. Have you seen this?
Oh, that is amazing. Just hold it up. Oh, that's fantastic. Are they going to sell that as a poster?
Yeah, so they're flocked. Remember back in the 70s, plastic?
Yeah, it's got a bit of felt on it, has it?
Yeah, it's got felt. It's flocked with felt. There's a very talented, you got to look this guy up, One Man Riot, One Man R-I-E-T, Riot. Marty is such a talented, he's such a talented maker of art. Yeah, so I am very blessed to be the new grandpa. And the old grandpa and I were not dissimilar. We're the same height, we're the same weight, we're the same size, to the point where I know at one point I actually put on his tuxedo from Munsters Go Home, and it fit me perfectly. And the other great thing is, in the movie, I'm the guy closest to the guy in the TV show. So, and I knew Al. Do you know that? I knew Al. I knew Fred because I worked with Fred. We did a movie together. I know Butch. Like, I went to the set of the Munsters with all these memories in my back pocket that I could pull out of.
Isn't it great with the 60s? They're coming back, but in a new form, and you are the new grandpa. And let me tell you, I would rather have a doll made of me than a Grammy Award. I mean, I think that's the greatest thing.
Well,
is that like when you were a child, now to see yourself, your image as you, and in toys, it must be the biggest buzz in the world for you.
Well, plastic people, I actually collect toys. I collect Universal Monster toys. That's my weird passion. Wax figures, Universal Monster toys. I had a huge collection. People can go to danielroebuck.com and find the button that says Dr. Shocker's House of Horror, and you can see how much stuff I used to have. I have less stuff, but the fact that I'm now a Universal Monsters toy is mind-blowing. I want to show you a picture if I can find it quick. So, do you know, when I was 12, you may have heard this, I was a clown in a circus. So when I was 12, this is what my circus clown looked like. I was a vampire clown named the Count. So look, vampire clown named the Count, because I was so taken with Universal Monsters. Now check this out.
Yeah, that's close, man. You can't get closer than that, can you?
It's so ridiculous. Like, it's just as good as it gets. So I think I was always going to be the Count. What's funny is This character that I just showed you, when I performed as him, he had a name, and this was his name.
The Count. Unbelievable.
And that's my card from when I was a kid. Anybody needs me for their magic show, you know, I'm still available.
Isn't it fantastic that what you become as a child actually grows into the character that you are now as the grandpa? And it must have been a fantastic journey, because I can tell that you have a passion for Universal Monsters that's beyond everything. I can't get over it. And you must have such a big collection of stuff. I mean, that's mind-blowing to me.
God is good, Plastic. That's all I keep reminding myself. It'd be so easy to take credit for this, my own credit. But dude, in the Munsters movie, I wear a top hat with a bat on it. Look what look.
The logo from back then.
I mean, you just can't make it up. It's not that's not chaos.
No.
That's something greater. So I'm pleased and blessed that I could use this medium to proclaim what I think is the reason we all wake up in the morning, and that's, you know, we're here to work together to celebrate this great gift we have of life. I don't want to get bogged down in that conversation, but that's just my starting point. I wake up every day grateful. When we were doing the Munsters, Plastic, they would say, "Mr. Dan, could we take your cape?" And I'd say, no, I'm going to wear my cape. I'd walk around with my cape. I'd walk around. I'd like pretend I was flying like a vampire bat. I was a kid again, and there's no one I can thank more than Mr. Rob Zombie giving me that opportunity.
I've got to say about his movie, there's so much color in the movie. Even the promo photo, right, is just the greatest. And it's so realistic and so now for 2022 that this is what people don't get. They might be thinking, is this the 60s movie? Like, they don't get it. Then now it's the future. Forget the past. We're moving on.
Right. And we don't want to look, we want to pay, we're Munsters fans. So we want to pay homage to, but nobody was hired to play Fred Gwynn or Al Lewis or Yvonne DiCarlo. We were hired to play Herman, Grandpa, and Lily. So in doing so, playing Herman, Grandpa, and Lily, right, then that's what we were hired to do. People were so evil, you know, there's no comparison to these actors. Like, well, yeah, there is. We're playing the same characters they played. That's a direct comparison. We look just like them, other than I have a mustache. That's a direct comparison. But Jeff Daniel Phillips is fantastic. How great is he as Herman? He's so good. And he plays Herman from a newborn, like, you know, finding his voice and figuring out who he is. And nobody works harder than Sherry Moon Zombie. I think she's perfect as Lily. And by the way, everybody who's not a schnook, who didn't go in with the, you know, the sight on the rifle, they all say to a person how great she is as Lily with her hands and her voice and her inflections. She's perfect.
Do you know what gets to me, Daniel? The color of the movies that comes through. I've never seen so many colors. And I've got to ask you, what was it like coming out of the coffin? Was that like the big scene for you?
Dude, I was so afraid. I was so afraid that someone would say, yeah, we just don't have time to shoot that. You know, they fit me for the coffin. I'm on a board, you know, that pulls me up, and they, you know, they get rid of the wire. But that was, I mean, how great to come into a movie like that and then to turn it into a joke. Oh, my back. That's when Rob had me when I was reading the script. I was like, I'm in. I'm here.
Can you believe how quick you just stepped into Grandpa? I can't get over it. I'm telling you, the first time I saw the promo of the photo, I go, there's Grandpa. Like, you stand out because of the way you look in the character, and it's like it's accepted straight away. There's no thinking, like 2000%. Hey, there's the new Grandpa. There's no question. It just like jumps into a new Grandpa. You are the new Grandpa, and you've done it so quick.
Well, I'd like to thank you for that. You're very kind. You come down to the lab and we'll turn you back into a record. Yeah.
Hey, I like the music too. The
Yeah,
music is great.
Yeah. And well, like, so it's hip, right? I believe it's to some extent Rob and Sherry's love story. Like I believe that it is autobiographical, and that's why Herman plays music, and she fell in love with it. Their story about when they met and how they gravitated toward each other and have never let go of each other is so great. It's like a love story for the ages. They've been together for 30 years. I've been married 33 years if you add each one of them up.
I go 34, and my wife, you know, she's a big fan too. She saw the movie with me. And let me tell you, you know, the great thing about what you're doing now, it's just propelling along the movies. Like, in other words, I think the Munsters movie is just such a standout. It's just such a standout. The way it's portrayed, the way it's now a new kind of modern Munsters. See, that never happened before. And you've actually brought the TV show from the 60s back to life, because they'll go to the cinema, the new generation, see your version, and then they'll go and buy the DVD of the old version.
Right. Yes. It's definitely the best thing for the franchise is to reinvigorate it. And, you know, this is one of the reasons that why do they remake Mulan or Beauty and the Beast or whatever? One of the reasons is to retain ownership of the intellectual property. Like the studio, they keep making. So now, once again, we're Herman, Lily, and eventually Grandpa. So those characters, they've extended their copyright another 75 years by making this new movie. Because, you know, the copyright would have expired in 15 years otherwise. That's how old the Munsters is. It's as old as I am.
I got to say, in the original series, my favorite show was the Tin Can Man. That was my favorite.
Oh, yeah. How great that the Tin Can Man's in the movie. I liked Zombo Plastic because I liked that Zombo was the show where they actually told the audience how they make the Munsters. You know, the Zombo is crummy. Like they showed him it was all fake. And I thought that was ingenious writing. Kind of very, what do we call it now? Meta, right? But then it was just something like a fun idea to show the world what's really happening, you know?
Now, also got to say, Rob, he rebuilt the Munsters house. What a buzz that must have been.
Yeah, and that's his house right there. That's a photo of the house he built on the back lot of the studio in Budapest. God, seeing that the first time was like, oh, every part about this movie, Plastic, it's kind of, you know, just earlier today, I sent my brother Johnny a picture of Herman next to a spot. And we always laugh. There's the one where they go, he may escape again. And Herman goes, he's holding a paper. And he goes, he's like, naughty, 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 naughty. And then he kind of just gives it a little tap. My brother and I have been laughing about that for 50 years. And so, you know, I found a picture of that today. I sent it to him. Within 2 seconds, he sent me the video clip. And I said, isn't it crazy? Like that this thing that was so attached to us as children is now like, you know, because I look at it like this. If I'm in it, my brother's in it, my friends are in it, we're all in it. Like we're all part of a big monster head that got to travel through time and be part of this experience.
I like the Hot Rod Monster, but also like the episode where Herman Munster is the singing star.
Oh,
my
yeah.
knee bone's connected to my.
My knee bone's connected to my thigh bone. Oh, you like Herman Munster? Yeah. Well, dude, are you allowed to curse on this station? I don't really.
Oh, just go for it. It's the internet.
No. I don't really like to curse, but Fred, you know, was very wry, his humor, and very cutting. And he'd say, Danny, I don't know comedy. You fucking know comedy. I don't know comedy. And it's like, yeah, you who created Herman Munster, you don't know comedy. And me, this neophyte idiot who doesn't know anything. That was 4 years into my acting career when my professional LA career when I worked with him. What the hell did I know? I didn't know anything. He was great.
We think of him every day. We think of Herman, we think of Al. And I just want to say, I can't believe how tall Fred Gwynn was. I mean, how tall was he? And they made his face for that TV show. It's just unbelievable comedy, but scary in the way he even looked. He looked the greatest coming through that front door.
Yeah, but then he comes through the front door and it's like, he immediately laughs. So you've got that. What I wanted to say about Fred, he wasn't just tall, his head was very large. I remember that. Like and I think it's because he was really smart, I think his brain filled his big head. When you were with him, he was definitely, he's what you put all of your attention on. Weird. I don't have one picture of me and him standing together in Disorganized Crime. I have photos where one night I kind of fake directed and he's standing next to me, harassing me, telling me to tell the director how terrible the director is, how he's ruining his own movie. I'm saying, no, I'm not telling him that. He goes, you're a pussy, a goddamn pussy.
You played so many fine roles, right, in your TV career, right? But I know that you inside must have just freaked out getting this role, and it's come to like a culmination of like your life in one movie. You must feel so great about it.
Yeah, I try not to get too excited because I don't want the big guy to go, oh, you've done everything you wanted to do. Come on up here, we'll talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I want another 30 plus years where I can go to the restroom by myself. That's important. I would remember everything. That's important. When Rob asked me, he asked me so long ago, I had to keep the secret for so many years. In fact, I was going to the wedding of one of my buddies who collects horror movie stuff. So I was at this wedding with all of our friends who are all Munsters fans, and I couldn't tell any of them.
It's hard being a star when you got a movie coming out and the movie hits. And as I said, it's going to be huge. Netflix has got like 300 million subscribers.
Yeah, I know the movie did very well on Netflix. And I go around to the stores and I see it is not stocked in a lot of places, meaning they've sold out, restocked, sold out again. So that's a good sign.
Well, whatever merchandise comes out, you got to collect it. Buy 3-4 of every item. So you got it.
Well, and I try to think at what point am I having some OCD problem? So there's a doll of me, right? So I need a case of those. I need to protect a case of those so that they're never opened. And I'll need to have one on the shelf opened and one behind it not opened. And, and then these new ones that NECA my gosh, did you see these, the new ones that NECA just put out? Plastic, unbelievable.
You'll be going to conventions to sign stuff soon, won't you?
I've been doing it a lot and I enjoy it a lot because I like meeting people.
Interacting with the fans now after the movie, I think is the greatest publicity you can do. Even the Munsters, when they put their movies out, they went and did promotions. Look at that.
I mean, my God.
Is that out or when's that coming out?
It's not out yet. That NECA said it'll be out this quarter.
Unbelievable. Plus, there's records now.
Yeah,
Rob Zombie's put out records as well.
Yeah, people should go to Waxworks and they should go to just today, Fright Rags put out a whole new series of Munsters t-shirts, and that's today, Fright Rags. If you go today, they'll have it. Yeah, I've been going to a lot of conventions. I've been enjoying that, doing that with meeting people. My wife and I like to travel. So we have one here called Spooky Empire in Orlando, Florida this weekend. And then we have the next weekend will be up in Chiller Theater, and we drive up and down the coast. We just enjoy being together.
Halloween's this week, isn't it?
Halloween is the end of next week.
Okay. And what are you doing for that?
I'll be at the Haunted Pyramids in North Carolina. Oh my gosh. I realize it, but I don't mind it. The Halloween season is going to be my busy season for the rest of my life. Robert Englund told me that about himself 26 years ago. And it's not changed for him, for me, for Elvira, for people who are part of the Halloween. And I said for me, like I'm Freddy Krueger, I'm not. But I've been killed by Michael Myers. I've been killed by the Phantasm Sphere. I'm Herman Munsters, new father-in-law. So a lot of, I'll be around for Halloweens to come.
I wish I was in the States so I could come and visit you. I reckon that would be the biggest buzz.
If you ever come back, you track us down.
Yeah, I'll track you down and I'll get one of your T-shirts and get it signed.
You betcha, whatever you want.
Down the track, you got to do a book.
Well, God bless you for saying that. I've been writing a book called, and it's primarily for actors, called The Audition is the Job and Other Truths That I've Learned in the Land of Make-Believe. And so it's partly a book on how to take control for actors or any kind of person who needs to kind of move forward in life. But it's filled with, it's through the prism of my own career. So filled with a lot of anecdotes about what's happened in my life. And it is filled, like there's stories about how when we were doing, I found something else here that's pretty great. Look at this.
Oh, that's great too.
Those slide puzzles that you had when you were a kid.
So yeah, I remember those from the 60s.
We've mimicked exactly the 60s Munster slide puzzle.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I can't wait for all this merchandise to hit Australia. Seriously. There's a lot of science fiction shops here in Melbourne, right, that carry stuff and they're buying stuff from the US all the time. So everything you got, they get it. They buy it online or through the distributors and they get it out to the fans here because there's so many fans, as I said, of the Munsters. And I mean, when you look back at some of your roles, I'm just saying, Star Trek, I think you're in Superman as well, whatever. What has been your favorite character outside of the Munsters in your career?
Well, I played a lot of great, crazy characters like the guy I played on Lost. I am enjoying, I'm in Star Wars now too. I'm in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, that huge video game. I play Grease Dritus, the guy who flies a spaceship. And that's great because, we spend months and months being in Star Wars. That's a pretty good place to be in the morning. So I like that too. I don't know, plastic. Hard to pick. I make my own movies as well. People, I'd invite them to go to achannelofpeace.org to see the movies that I make. And there's a special joy, and you're a musician, so you understand when I self-create the product and play the role that I wrote for me. There's something joyful about that too. And I always work with the greatest actors.
Now, I've got to go back because you got to understand, in 1964, in the States, the Beatles were the biggest thing. But not only that, the Munster craze hit with the Addams Family.
Yeah.
With the Munsters. But let me tell you, the Addams Family here in Australia was quite scary. It didn't make sense, that show. But the Munsters was comedy, and you got it. Like, I love the Munsters more than I did the Addams Family because it was too kooky and crazy for me. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, I think the Addams Family is esoteric. I also think it's, I don't know, like to speak to my own growing up. We were the Munsters. Like, our house was this house. All my friends had nice houses. We lived in a house like this. My mom was a little bit of a hoarder. I love her, but there was always weird stuff around the house, and a lot of it. My dad was kind of goofy. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't a steel executive. He was a guy who dug ditches for the city. He'd come in at night after working all day, and he'd take his pants off, and he'd sit in his underwear, and he'd read the newspaper. So when someone knocked on the door, you'd be like, wait, don't come in, because my dad, let me put my pants on. So he was Herman Munster. The Addams family, they were just so different and rich, it seemed like, rich. And the Munsters were not rich.
Unbelievable. Now, Daniel, I just want to say, talk to the fans and just tell them how great it is and how you can't wait to see them at these conventions.
And I've been at a convention every weekend except last weekend when I went to West Virginia to shoot 2 movies, because I still got to work as an actor. It's been great. And I love seeing the people and meeting the people. And the fact is, I've been going to conventions as a fan for 40 years. So going now as a guest is kind of strange to be on the other side of it, you know?
Can I ask you, have you been asked to do appearances in your outfit? Because I think if you went out in your outfit, it's like a totally different thing. It's one thing meeting Daniel Roebuck as Daniel Roebuck the person, but if you dress up in your outfit as Grandpa, it's a totally different scene. The fans see and I reckon they'd freak out.
Yeah, I haven't been asked to do that. It would be difficult because of the application. I wore nose and a chin and the hair and the wig. It's all very elaborate, painting it right. But, you never know if that could happen. I'm ready to go. I may have stolen a costume, but I know where the costume is.
Can you see yourself selling things in the costume? Like being Grandpa and saying, go out and buy Grandpa Pops, like ice creams.
Wouldn't that be funny? I certainly do. It is funny that I certainly do. I am feeling more like a salesman. Find us on Facebook. I'm feeling more like a salesman than I ever have in my life.
I think that's the coolest place to be, where they come up and buy that and see you and meet you and you sign it. You can't get a bigger kick out of that, can you? Hold that one up. I love that one.
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
I can't believe the colors.
Dick, it's beautiful. I just
people have got Elvis in their dining room and their lounge room and their kitchen. I reckon they should swap pictures now and put them.
Yeah, they should put that up. Exactly. That's what I would do. I'm going to tell my mother to do that. Take down the Elvis picture, put up the Grandpa picture. Yeah.
This interview's been riveting for me. And, you're such a nice guy, such a great person, right? And it's like, it just comes across how you are. Like, you're so upbeat and happy. I mean, how great is just that? You're loving it. I can tell you're loving your life right now.
Even if I wasn't Grandpa Plastic, I'm loving my life. I have 2 glorious kids of my own, 2 beautiful stepkids. They're all in love. Well, one's not, but 3 are in love with people. I work when I can, and people now are asking me to direct movies for them and write movies for them. So that's nice. But, it doesn't matter. What you have to do is you must wake up in the morning and choose to be happy. God in his infinite wisdom put that sunrise and sunset, sunrise. That's our visual cue that it's time to renew and start again. So every day you should wake up and go, oh, great. I'm not mad at anybody anymore. It's a new day.
You grew up in the 60s, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, 60s. I was born in 63. Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you, you're a big fan of the Monkees?
Loved it. Yeah, I tell you, can I tell you, we went to see the very last performance of Mike. We caught it at the Greek, not knowing, of course, it was the last performance. Heartbreaking. I
know. Isn't it amazing? Can I ask you who your favorite monkey was?
My favorite monkey was always Mickey, because he was the funny one. I always liked Mickey. And odd that Mickey is the only one left. Sometimes I think, how is Davy Jones gone? Like, that blew my mind. Those guys were so entertaining and talented. Mike Nesmith, way beyond the Monkees. As a musician, I'm sure you had a great love and respect for him. I mean, what a fantastic entertainer and creative spirit.
Isn't it great that you can get the Munsters, the full DVD set, right? Even in Australia, and watch it You can go and buy the 58 episodes of The Monkeys and watch it. You can go and buy the DVD, right, of your movie, The New Munsters. I mean, we live in an age now where people don't even have to leave their house to be entertained.
Right, right. I always say, you know, when I try to get them to come to the theater, I'm like, you're sitting at home, you order Uber Eats, you buy a movie off Netflix. Yeah, there I am. You buy, you know, it's cheaper sometimes to go out and go to the theater.
Daniel, I want to thank you so much for being on the program today. And let me say, I'll be watching The New Munsters again tonight with my wife. We love you. Can't thank you enough for the great job that you've done on the Munsters. And as I said, you're a very fine actor, and it's just getting better and better like wine, isn't it? Just enjoy it. Enjoy the magic ride now in the conventions. I think it's the greatest.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Plastic. And I want to say thank you and God bless to everybody who follows you and listens to you and watches you. And I'm very grateful for all the support. And may everybody live long, happy, healthy.
Thanks so much, General.